Howdy folks, another morning shave. This is midweek shave for me, and we'll go ahead and start with the soap. And this soap is from Regiment. You get 3.5 ounces in a screw top tin. This will be the second one from Regiment that I've tried this week, and both times I've ended up with lather. Sorry about that. Looks like this. I mean, this that looks pretty good. Not a whole lot of work went into it to get it that far either. This is a MAC Metalworks brush. It's got a synthetic knot that you can tell with all the shaving cream on there. But that's I've got plenty of lather in there for more than one shave. Yesterday when I used it, really nice and creamy. It's a pretty good soap. I really like it. Pretty smooth. And of course, you know, I have my alum block with the rubber band, Humphreys witch hazel lilac, and the aftershave I chose to go with today is from Strike Gold Shave Kennedy. I have the scent profile down below on the aftershave and the soap. The soap, the note that my nose picks out the most at, and it's not always the best in the world, my nose, but I did smell the bergamot, but that's the reason why I try to get the the scent profile from the website, so that way somebody that's interested in knowing what the scent is, I go from there as opposed to my nose. And today I am using a Dubl PearlDuck. That is a Personna blade. It's a hair shaper. And matter of fact, I probably, yeah, this one here. I took the guard off. This in here is slightly different, but pretty close to being the same. Different in that this piece right here is plastic, and it runs up inside here. And the one I'm using today is all metal, so there's a little bit more weight to it. But this is what it looks like if you're unfamiliar with it. It has a guard on there for shaping hair. And shaving with the one that's got the all metal in there, it has a little bit more weight. It's one of those things for me that, that was kind of hard to tell, I'm pointing at me. It's hard for me to sometimes to adjust to a lighter shaver. It's just one of those things I know I need a lot of practice, and thought I'd give it a try. I've used it not too terribly long ago, and that was one of the things I really noticed, that it being a lightweight, that I was really struggling with the weight of the razor. And I've already put a hot towel to the face. Bloom water, I used it more or less as a pre-shave. I just pour it out in my hand and work it into my face. And it started working up the lather just by doing that. And over here to the side, I've got a mug of warm water where I warmed up the razor as well as the brush. It's just a habit I get into. A synthetic, you don't necessarily have to soak it, but it's just a habit I get into, so I just continue on with it. I'll go ahead and get lathered up here. Plus I was getting it all over my shirt. That is one thing that I guess you might say that a person would have to get accustomed to when it comes to bowl lathering or even face lathering, as far as that goes, is that sometimes you get lather everywhere. And I had quite a bit on my shirt. Doesn't bother me any. Just something I expect when I'm lathering up. This is very creamy. I know sometimes you know, you watch a video, it's hard to tell from one soap to the next just by looking at a person's face just how creamy this is. And this is pretty creamy. Yesterday, both yesterday and today, this is a little bit on the wet side. Today is not quite as wet as what I had whipped up yesterday. First time using the soap. And the slickness for the blade went really well with this razor, which is a good thing, because this is probably about as close as to a straight razor using a replaceable blade, just because it's naked and you get to set the angle. Quite a bit different than the shaver that I used on Saturday, the Alpha Elliptic, where it set the angle for you, and as long as you kept it positioned just right, you got a good shave. If you are unfamiliar with this kind of blade, if it looks longer than a DE, that's because it is. I'm not sure about the dimensions. I did put some a link to the website, and I had mentioned this before about the single edge blades being I believe this is how you pronounce it, 2-facet and 3-facet, and this one here is a 3-facet. 3-facet from the website is the sharper of the two, in between a 2 and a 3-facet. Two-facet, not that it's not sharp, it's just not as sharp as a 3-facet, and I guess you might say keeps the edge longer than a 3-facet, but the 3-facet being sharper. To be honest with you, I'm not too sure I'd tell the difference between the two. Now somebody else might be able to, but I know for me I sure don't. Yeah, this is quite a challenge for me, because of the fact that, you know, like I say, you really have to set your own angle. I guess you might say it's a precursor to shaving with a straight razor. Except for I would imagine that straight razors, in my opinion, my experience with a straight razor and this, a straight razor is easier because it has more weight behind it. I just struggle sometimes with lightweight. Matter of fact, the best lightweight shaver I've ever used is the Focus Slim. For some reason I don't have quite the problem with it. And of course I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the bevel, if you use that bevel, it helps a lot with the setting your angle. And I'm all smiles, because usually this stroke right here is where if I'm going to catch myself, that's where I'm going to catch myself, and I made it through there. It's a little bit of adjustment with the blade this long. It's a lot of fun using this this kind of blade. Fun in that it's very challenging. Definitely wouldn't say this would be something that a beginner would want to do. Because you got to set, you know, not only the angle but the pressure. And it might be because I just started out with DEs that are a little bit on the heavyweight side. In other words, more around the 3 ounce or more is what I usually preferred. Which a lot of times that meant that, for instance, Parker was the razor of choice, because the ones I had were right around the 3 ounce mark. Excuse me. I can still smell the bergamot. Smells great. This is the, if you look at the website and what they're describing the soap as, it is definitely in my opinion, is something to wake you up because of the scent. It's not a coffee. Don't, it's not like that. That is one thing about a blade like this, that you have to pay attention not to catch your ear. One of the fellow wet shavers, he had one of those custom blades. Looks menacing. Ask him if he had both of his ears still. You do have to stay focused, in my opinion, for me. Lose your focus on one of these and you'll find out about it. There'll be a reminder tomorrow about it. We kind of joke about it in one of the groups, that sometimes it's like a woman, it demands all your attention. Because if you don't, it's going to let you know about it. To me, this is the fun of shaving like this, is the challenge. If you've seen one of my videos before, I've mentioned it, that there's been gentlemen in the past that shaved like this. How did they manage it? And it's always been a curiosity to me on how they ever did it. There's certain things I like to go see in life, and I'd like to see somebody live do a straight razor shave, with a shave head of course, but just to see their technique. I've seen videos, but you know how sometimes things are a lot different when you look at them in real person. And but as it goes for me letting somebody else shave me, it's just something about that just like, no. I'll pass. I'll do my own shaving. Trusting somebody with a blade like that, I don't know. guess you might say I've given myself plenty of bad shaves, and I'm not interested in getting another one. Some people get good shaves, some people say they don't. I guess it's just an experience that if you can trust somebody with a blade like that. I just know my face, and I know the pain points where I need to adjust my pressure. I can't keep the same pressure all the way across my face because some places I need more pressure because of the way my skin is and the beard, and in some places I know I have to be very light, otherwise I'm going to end up with irritation. In other words, the neck is one area. Yeah, I have to be very careful. And even, like I said, redness doesn't always mean that the skin's irritated. It's just naturally how my skin is. As you can kind of tell, and I put it in my last video, if you've seen Nick shaves, you know when he was just getting his morning shave in, what he was considering acceptable. And I'd have to say the video was just over 5 minutes long. He speeded up just a little part of it, so I'm guessing right around the 6-minute mark, including the introduction in the morning, at the beginning of it. And it doesn't take that long to wet shave, because I spend more time, because I do spend quite a bit of time cleaning up. I say quite a bit of time, in other words more than the 6 minutes, but I do clean things up when I'm done. I try to keep it pretty clean, that way it's going back and cleaning in masses is not something that I'm interested in doing. So I prefer to do it as I go. Alum block. I got one spot, just a small one back here, but yeah, I've got a great shave. Awesome. It's always great when you use the alum block and don't get much. Witch hazel. In the aftershave, I'm going to be using has witch hazel in it also. So, matter of fact, can't remember exactly when Frank at Strike Gold Shave, when his sale goes off. I don't think he's got Kennedy in stock. I think it's Nixon and Clinton, I think. He's got 20% off. And if you're wondering, that is what the restrictor looks like. So in other words, it's not a big one by any means. So you'll have to work at it if you want some out of there, which is what I guess most people prefer. I'm quite alright with the big ones. This does smell great. Like I say, I don't think this is what he has in stock at the moment. Man, this is good smelling stuff. Well, once again, shaver of the shave soap of the day was Regiment. Like I said, 3.5 ounces in a screw top tin, and I still got lots of lather here. Once again, that's a MAC Metalworks brush. Really nice handle. It's got a nice weight to it. Kind of tell I like the heavier weight stuff instead of lightweight. And if this is the first time you've seen one, I'll show you again. This is a excuse me, a PearlDuck. A double duck PearlDuck. And this is a Personna blade. And it just slides in there at the top, slides right back out. Pretty easy to work with. This is a vintage one, excuse me, a vintage shaver. There's not any more new ones. So if you're looking for one, they can be quite expensive. Last time I looked, somebody was trying to sell one of these around the $75 mark. Trust me, I paid nowhere near that much. if I remember right, is either $20 or $25. I have my budget, my limits, and if it doesn't meet, I just keep on waiting until I find it, or I just don't get it. I had a great shave. Everybody stay safe. Smooth shaves to you.